This is the best football show, and I'm Brian Baldinger, and we're live. I'm here to take any of your questions, your insights, things about your team, things about the league. I'm here for it. So fire away. I hope this gets out to a good majority of our audience. By the way, this is the best football show, and you can find me at Baldy NFL on everything from YouTube to Twitter to TikTok to Instagram. I'm out there, and this you can download this podcast on a free Odyssey app and like it and subscribe to it. I've got a couple things I want to sort of address here. I just got back from the New York Jets. Always a fun day at the Jets, win or lose. Always something going on. But anyways, also I'm here on the third floor at NFL Films, Mount Laurel, New Jersey, Garden State, all that stuff. But I'm literally 12 miles from the NovaCare Center. So I've got my ear plugged into the Eagles, and there's a lot of noise coming out of Philly for a team that is 11-2 and won 9 in a row. And Brandon Graham kind of gaslighted some of the things between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Now, just from a history between these two guys, I mean, Jalen Hurts is the godfather to A.J. Brown's daughter. So they're close friends. Now, whether they still are or not seems to be some question. And last week, Jalen threw 21 passes, which is exactly what he has averaged in this 9-game win streak. I mean, they're a 56% run-first team, the highest in the league. 56% run, 44% pass. He doesn't get a lot of chances to throw the ball. He threw 4 passes to A.J. Brown. All 4 were completed for 60-something yards, a couple first downs. He did not throw a touchdown pass to A.J. Brown. He did throw one to Devontae Smith. And on the play, he could have easily thrown it to A.J. But for whatever reason, and some things, even on the coach's tape that I get, it's just amazing. I mean, I wish all fans could go down and watch a game on the field from the end zone and just see what a quarterback sees. And oftentimes how obstructed his view is and how few passes are just clean shots where he can see the receiver. It rarely ever looks like that. So they ran a pick play on Devontae Smith's touchdown, and AJ did come free. It was exactly why you run a pick, down there on the goal line. But he didn't throw it to him, and he threw it to Devontae, and then he threw one to Grant Calcaterra, which was an important throw in the game, and it was Grant's first touchdown of his 3-year NFL career. He pounded that ball and spiked it like crazy. He could have thrown it to AJ on the play. He was open initially. He was open, not for long. If you threw it, then you could have thrown it. He didn't. But here's the thing. Regardless of if he didn't throw it to AJ, when he could have thrown it to AJ, regardless, this is the biggest football game of the season for the Eagles. The Pittsburgh Steelers come to town, 10-3. All right? They're running away with the AFC North right now, right? They want a win. And oh, by the way, and so the biggest game of the year for basically both teams, and this is sort of the noise that people are talking about, like AJ and Jalen. Are they friends? Is Jalen trying to freeze them out? Like, I watched these games. Jalen has played a conservative style of football. It goes with, look, they were 2-2 after they got blown out by Tampa in week 4. And they had a bye week, the earliest bye. And they came back and they basically fixed the offense. It was run first. It was Saquon's the star. Don't turn it over. And Jalen has followed that formula. He's thrown 12 touchdowns and 1 interception in the last 9 games. And they're 9-0. Now, I don't know who isn't signing up for that. Like, they've got a chance for the number 1 seed. But if the conversation in the locker room or on the field or anywhere is about the quarterback and the wide receiver, those teams never win. And that distraction never, ever gets put out, ever. If Pittsburgh comes in and they put a hitting, they've got some vultures up front in TJ and Highsmith and Hayward and Herbert. They've got vultures. that can get after the quarterback and make life difficult. They lead the league in takeaways. They have more fumble recoveries than any team in the league. If your focus right now is the quarterback not getting the ball to the wide receiver, number one, the focus is the wrong thing. So that's that. We'll get to that game here at the very end. I want to talk about some bad teams. Bad teams are bad teams because they can't score. Like, you can't be a good team if you don't score. So I went and just researched first half scoring this year. The Giants are awful. I mean, they had a chance to tie New Orleans at the end. They scored 11 points in the game. They've scored 87 points now in the first half of 13 games. That's less than a touchdown, a half for 13 games. And right behind them are the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears with all that fire, Caleb and Keenan and DJ and Rome and all that stuff. They've scored 96 points in the first half of games. Like, you can't win if you don't score. Like, I only looked this up because last week Chicago was down 24-0 in the second quarter to San Francisco. Like, every once in a while, we'll see a comeback like that. Every once in a while, we'll see a team that could come back and get into the game. And they scored, 13 points in the second half. They made it a little bit closer before San Francisco pulled away. Fact is that most teams that are down 24-0 don't win. I mean, it's just so, but right behind them, Jacksonville, bad team. Okay. They scored last week. Jacksonville scored the one touchdown, all right, to beat Tennessee 10-6. But they've scored 100 points. The Patriots, a bad team, have scored 102. The Raiders played great defense last week. Great defense against Tampa. Took the ball away 3 times in the second quarter against Baker. 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery. They've scored 105 points in the first half this year. Like 105 points, that's you're scoring 8 points a game. 8 points in the first half. Like, those teams are bad because they can't score. And they don't score in the first half. Where you go to the locker room and you go, okay, we got a game. Like, imagine if you're Chicago last week, you come in the locker room, it's 24-0. San Francisco had just lost, 3 in a row, 4 in a row. You come in and you're like, okay, we got to play a perfect half. We got to score every possession. You say all the right things, but it's 24-0. And Brock Purdy's having a great game. So that's that. And speaking of 49ers, there's tomorrow night's game. So tomorrow night's game is in San Francisco. They played week 3 at SoFi Stadium. And honestly, it was the beginning of San Francisco's problems. San Francisco was up with 2 minutes and 48 seconds to go in that game. They're up 24-17 in total control. Brock Purdy has thrown 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He's having a great game. And they line up for a 55-yard Jake Moody field goal. So he kicks it. He actually doesn't kick it badly, but it just shaves the left upright, and he misses. So it gives the Rams the ball at the 45-yard line, down 24-17. The first play, he went downtown to Tutu Atwell, 50 yards. So now they're down on San Francisco's 5-yard line, and 2 plays later, Kyron Williams goes and ties the score up. And then San Francisco didn't do anything with the ball, and the Rams got a big play, and they kicked a game-winning field goal, 127-24. Like, that's probably how it's going to go at some point tomorrow night. It's probably going to be a field goal game. Both teams are looking at a playoff spot. They got to keep winning. Like, it's playoff season for both teams. Both teams looking up at 8-5 Seattle, who's won like 4 in a row. All right. Let's get to Pittsburgh because I'm going to tease Pittsburgh and Philadelphia here. Russell Wilson. I'm watching Pittsburgh's game against Cleveland last week. And be honest with you, they didn't play great. There's no George Pickens. There's no big plays. But I'll give Russell Wilson credit from this standpoint. Like, he knows they're not really a very explosive team. Mike Williams hasn't really done much since they traded for him. George Pickens out. He's their big play guy. But Russell Wilson is not afraid to dink and dunk you down the field. Like, literally, bubble screens, check downs, screens, get it to Jalen Warren, screen to Najee, throw a stick route to Fryermuth. They ran a basic college offense, triple option, fake it to Jalen Warren. Russell Wilson gets outside the pocket. Van Jefferson, runs a little vertical route, hits him in the end zone for a touchdown. Like it is the week before, Russell Wilson played a great game, and all he did was check it down. Hit a couple big throws. Me just checked the ball down. And so they play a very conservative style. They don't run the ball great. They run it a lot. They try to stay with the run as much as they can. They don't get away from it. Najee is a big back. Jalen is good. They get it. They got Cordero in there a little bit. Russell will run a read option. They run it in a variety of ways. I mean, they get 4 yards carry. They're not at the top of the charts or anything like that. But they'll stay with it. Play action pass off it. Get Russell Wilson under center. But they're not a great offense. But, look, they lead the league in takeaways. Russell gets all of it. They lead the league in takeaways with 28 or 29. So that's extra at-bats. They're tied for the league lead right now in turnover ratio, right, with Buffalo. They're plus 17, right? They've got 28 takeaways. They lead the league with 13 fumble recoveries. So they make big splash plays on defense. And they've scored defensive touchdowns. They did last week. They got a big play last week from Keanu Benton. They make big plays. They put the offense in good positions. So Pittsburgh plays a complementary style of offense. Russell knows that his job is not to turn the ball over. In fact, they've turned the ball over in 13 games now, 11 times. You can live with that, especially if your defense is taking it away. So let's tease this game coming up Sunday. I saw where Tom Brady has already sort of said, hello, city of brotherly love. The game's at, it's at, it's right there in South Philly, Lincoln Financial Field. Here's a stat. I think that's interesting. It has nothing to do with this game, but it's a Philly-Pittsburgh stat. The last time the Steelers came to Philadelphia and won a game was 1965. Chuck Noll was anywhere near the Steelers. 1965 was at Franklin Field, right there on the University of Pennsylvania. They've lost 10 in a row in Philadelphia. I texted that to a friend of mine who was in the personnel department in Pittsburgh, and he just texted me back pretty quickly, said, it's about time. Okay, so here you go. Pittsburgh's trying to stay in front of Baltimore. Baltimore's trying to catch, they got to keep winning, stay in front of Baltimore. They've got a nice lead with 4 to go. And they come to Philly, who's playing literally great football. They're the number one defensive football. Like, they've been awesome. And they've got a better defensive line than the Steelers do an offensive line. And I would say that the two linebackers of the Eagles, Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, are going to make a lot of tackles. Because if they just keep checking it down and throwing these bubble screens and conservative throws to try and get, stay on schedule, get some yards, those guys they're hard to block. I mean, they turn and run, and they cover a lot of ground, Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean. Interesting matchup will be a rookie, Mason McCormick, playing right guard for the Steelers. And he's a good player, really good player. But he's going up against Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter can be as physically dominant as any defensive lineman in this whole league. And last week against Robert Hunt in Carolina, there was a good battle. But he plays a lot of snaps, doesn't come off the field much. There's a high volume of snaps. It'll be a good test for the rookie. But the Eagles aren't turning it over, the Steelers aren't turning it over. So then it's a question of who can make the plays, who can make this. So look, the last time A.J. Brown played the Steelers, I think he had 3 touchdown passes. I think he had 3 touchdown catches 2 years ago, the year that they went to the Super Bowl. And Jalen got the deep ball going to A.J. Brown. Now, back there is Minkah Fitzpatrick for Pittsburgh and Deshaun Elliott. They're two good safeties. Deshaun Elliott leads that team in tackles. Mink is the free safety. He's watched those plays on film from 2 years ago. So I'm interested to see if the Eagles can get the big plays to A.J. Brown in this game that might swing the game, might swing it. But it might be one of those just knockdown, drag-out defensive battles where the defenses kind of take charge and really set the tempo for the whole game. I'm excited. Tom Brady's going to be there. I'm going to be on the other side of the country, so I'll be watching that game in the stadium. I'll be doing the Bucks and the Chargers, so that game will be on early at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll be tuned in and watching that one for sure. I'm looking forward to it. But like this whole controversy is putting Jalen Hurts under the microscope. Like he's not playing. He's playing like he was an MVP candidate through 15 weeks 2 years ago when he hurt his shoulder against the Bears in week 15. Like he's statistically playing better than he did 2 years ago. He's not running for 15 touchdowns like he did then. A lot of it was tush-push stuff. But, from a quarterback standing rating and interception to touch, like he's playing better than he did 2 years ago. He's content with being the leader, taking care of the football. Defense is playing great. Saquon's the star. Like if this thing, and it was weird last week, Grant Calcaterra catches a touchdown pass. He's been on the team for 3 years. He catches his first touchdown pass ever. First NFL touchdown. Just imagine. You've been like a behind-the-scenes guy. Dallas Goedert is hurt. You're in there. You're starting. You're the starting tight end. You catch your first touchdown pass. Like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith don't congratulate with you. I mean, I watched Jamar Chase the other night have a career night. 14 catches, 3 touchdowns, all that stuff. Like I saw Tanner Hudson catch a pass in the middle of the field for 19 yards, and the first guy to meet him was Jamar Chase, picking him up off the ground, congratulating him. Like this is a team sport. You celebrate everybody's success. They do that in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin doesn't play any other way. Now, I'm sure Nick Sirianni feels the same way. Mike Tomlin doesn't play that me game. He doesn't do it. Like nobody's allowed to do that. Man, he's the longest tenured coach in this league. That doesn't play. So you're going to find out an awful lot about this Eagle team on Sunday against Pittsburgh, and specifically the quarterback and the receivers. If they don't get the ball, if they get, if Joey Porter Jr. has a good game against A.J. Brown or takes him out, or that pressure package of TJ and, Highsmith and, Hayward and Herbig, they start pressuring Jalen and force him to hold it, scramble, whatever. You're going to find a whole lot out about this team and the health of this team. All right, everybody. That's my thoughts on the Steelers matchup. I look forward to talking to you probably Friday as we break down that 49ers-Rams game to see who stays alive in the NFC West right now. This has been the Best Football Show. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Look forward to talking to you on Friday.